The house was quiet that morning. Too quiet. I stood by the kitchen window, watching the early Atlanta sun paint golden streaks across our backyard. My coffee had gone cold in my hands, but I didn't notice. I was thinking about the way my husband looked at me lately, the way his smile never quite reached his eyes anymore. 3 years of marriage, 3 years of what I thought was happiness. But something had shifted in the last 2 months, ever since my grandmother passed and left me everything. The house in Buckhead, the investment accounts, the life insurance policy she'd taken out in my name decades ago, $2.4 million. That's when the man I married started to disappear, replaced by someone I barely recognized. My husband walked into the kitchen, and I forced myself to smile. He was already dressed for work, his cologne filling the space between us. "You're up early," he said, kissing my cheek. His lips felt cold. "Couldn't sleep." He poured himself coffee, leaning against the counter. "You feeling okay? You've seemed tired lately." I had been tired. Exhausted, actually. For the past 3 weeks, I'd been fighting this strange fatigue that seemed to hit me every evening after dinner. My muscles would ache. My head would pound. Some nights I could barely make it to bed before passing out. "Maybe I'm coming down with something," I said. He nodded, but there was something in his eyes, a flicker of something I couldn't name. "You should see a doctor. I worry about you." "I have an appointment next week." His jaw tightened. Just slightly. Just enough for me to notice. "Why wait? I can call Dr. Patterson today. Get you in sooner." "It's fine. I'm fine." He stared at me for a long moment, then grabbed his keys. "I'll be home late tonight. Meeting with a client." After his car pulled out of the driveway, I stood there for a full 5 minutes, my heart pounding in my chest. Something was wrong. I could feel it in my bones. Call it intuition. Call it paranoia. But I knew. The way a woman knows when the ground beneath her feet is about to crack open. I thought back to all the little things I'd dismissed over the past weeks. The vitamins he'd started giving me every morning. The herbal tea he insisted would help me sleep. The way he watched me drink it, every single night. Never taking his eyes off me until the cup was empty. The fatigue had started right around then. I walked to the bathroom and opened the medicine cabinet. There they were. The vitamins in the amber bottle. He'd been so sweet about it, so caring. Said he'd read an article about women's health and wanted to make sure I was getting everything I needed. I took one of the capsules and held it up to the light. It looked normal, smelled normal, but nothing felt normal anymore. That afternoon, I did something I never thought I'd do. I drove to a private lab downtown, the kind that doesn't ask questions if you pay cash. I handed them 3 of the capsules. "How long for results?" "Rush job?" 24 hours. I paid double for 12. The next 12 hours were the longest of my life. I went through the motions, cooked dinner, smiled at my husband, pretended to take my vitamins while palming them into my napkin, drank half the tea and poured the rest down the bathroom sink when he wasn't looking. That night, for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel like I was dying. I lay awake in bed next to him, listening to his breathing, wondering who this man really was. The lab called at 7 the next morning while my husband was in the shower. "Mrs. Williams?" "We found something." My hand was shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. "The capsules contain a compound called brodifacoum. It's a type of anticoagulant, rat poison, essentially. In small doses over time, it would cause fatigue, weakness, and eventually internal bleeding. Without treatment, it can be fatal within weeks." I couldn't breathe. The room spun around me. "Mrs. Williams? Are you there?" "Yes," I whispered. "I'm here. You need to stop taking these immediately and see a doctor. If you've been ingesting this substance, you may need vitamin K treatment to counteract the effects." My husband was trying to kill me. The man I'd shared a bed with for 3 years. The man I'd trusted with my life. He was slowly poisoning me, day by day, pill by pill. I heard the shower turn off. Footsteps in the hallway. "Thank you," I said quickly. "I'll be in touch." I hung up just as he walked into the bedroom, towel around his waist, water dripping from his chest. "Who was that?" "Wrong number." He smiled. That smile I used to love, that smile that now made my stomach turn. "You sleep better last night?" "Much better." "Good. Make sure you take your vitamins this morning." I left them on the counter. I watched him get dressed. every movement, every gesture, looking for some sign of the monster beneath the skin. But he just looked like my husband. Normal, loving, concerned. That's what made it so terrifying. After he left for work, I sat in my car in the garage for 20 minutes, trying to figure out what to do. My first instinct was to run, pack a bag and disappear. But where would I go? And more importantly, what would stop him from finding me? From trying again? No. Running wasn't the answer. I needed proof. Real proof. Something that would put him away for the rest of his life. I called my best friend, Desiree. We'd known each other since college. She was the only person I trusted completely. "I need your help," I said when she answered, "and I need you to not ask questions until we're face to face." 30 minutes later, I was sitting in her living room, showing her the lab results. "Oh my God!" Her hands were shaking. "Imani, we have to call the police." "And tell them what? My husband gave me vitamins? They'll think I'm crazy. I need more evidence." "Evidence of what?" "He's trying to kill you." "I know. But I need to prove it. I need to find out why, how long he's been planning this, everything." Then I go to the police with a case they can't ignore. Desiree stared at me. "You're going back to that house?" "I don't have a choice. If I run now, he'll know I'm onto him." And then, I couldn't finish the sentence. "Then let me help. What do you need?" I spent the rest of that day planning. I couldn't think of my husband as my husband anymore. He was the enemy. A predator who had been living in my home, sleeping in my bed, slowly draining the life out of me. I needed to think like prey. Smart prey. Prey that fights back. First, I went to see my doctor, told her I'd been feeling unwell and asked for blood work. When the results came back showing dangerously low vitamin K levels and early signs of coagulopathy, she was alarmed. I told her I suspected poisoning. She documented everything and reported it to the authorities, just like she was required to do. Then I hired a private investigator, a woman named Carla Rhodes who specialized in domestic cases. I gave her everything, the lab results, my husband's name, our financial records. "I need to know what he's hiding," I told her. "Bank accounts, phone records, other women, everything." She looked at me with eyes that had seen this kind of darkness before. "You sure you want to know?" "I need to know." While Carla dug into my husband's secrets, I played the perfect wife. Took my vitamins every morning, making sure he watched me swallow them. Then excused myself to the bathroom, where I spit them into a plastic bag hidden in my makeup case. Made his favorite dinners, laughed at his jokes. Let him hold me at night while I lay rigid with fear, waiting for his breathing to slow into sleep before I allowed myself to cry. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. Pretending to love someone who was trying to murder you. Every kiss felt like a betrayal of myself. Every smile felt like a lie that was slowly killing my soul. But I had to wait. I had to be patient. The trap had to be perfect. A week later, Carla called me with the first piece of the puzzle. "Your husband opened a life insurance policy on you 8 months ago, $500,000. He's the sole beneficiary." 8 months. He'd been planning this for 8 months. There's more. He's been making regular payments to a woman named Keisha Monroe, $3,000 a month for the last 6 months. His mistress. Of course there was a mistress. I tracked her down. She works at a pharmaceutical company, in the inventory department. My blood ran cold. She has access to chemicals? She has access to everything. The pieces were falling into place. My husband and his girlfriend working together to slowly poison me and collect the insurance money. The perfect crime. A grieving widower left with nothing but his wife's fortune. Except I wasn't dead yet. I started documenting everything. Every vitamin he handed me went into a labeled bag with the date and time. I installed a hidden camera in the kitchen, pointed at the counter where he prepared my evening tea. I screenshot every suspicious text, every late-night phone call, every charge on our credit card that didn't add up. My husband had no idea he was being watched. That's the thing about predators. They're so focused on their prey, they never think to look behind them. 2 weeks into my investigation, I made a discovery that changed everything. I was going through his briefcase while he was in the shower, something I'd started doing regularly. Usually I found nothing. Receipts, business cards, the occasional love note from his girlfriend that made me want to vomit. But that night, I found a document that stopped my heart. It was a draft of a new will. My will, leaving everything to my husband in the event of my death, forged signature and all. He wasn't just trying to kill me, he was trying to steal my grandmother's entire estate. I took pictures of everything with shaking hands. The will, the witness signatures, the notary stamp that I knew was fake because I'd never signed anything. That's when I knew I had enough. But I needed one more thing. I needed him to confess. The next morning, I told my husband I wasn't feeling well, which wasn't entirely a lie. The weeks of stress had taken their toll on me. "Why don't you stay home today?" he suggested, his voice dripping with false concern. "Rest. I'll bring you some tea before I leave." I watched him prepare the tea in the kitchen. The hidden camera captured everything. The way he glanced over his shoulder before reaching into his pocket. The small vial he pulled out. The careful way he stirred the contents into my cup. "Here you go," he said, bringing it to me on the couch. "Drink up, it'll make you feel better." I took the cup, held it to my lips, pretended to sip. "Aren't you going to drink it?" His voice had an edge now, impatient, hungry. "It's too hot, I'll let it cool." His jaw tightened. "You should drink it while it's warm. The herbs work better that way." I looked up at him. For the first time in weeks, I let him see the truth in my eyes. "What's in it?" "What?" "The tea, what's in it?" He laughed, but it was hollow, nervous. "Chamomile, honey, what kind of question is that? Why do you want me to drink it so badly?" His face changed then. Just for a second. The mask slipped, and I saw him. The real him, cold, calculating, murderous. Then it was back. The concerned husband. "Baby, you're not making sense. Maybe you should lie down." I set the cup on the coffee table. "I'm not drinking it, Imani. I know what's in the vitamins. I had them tested." The silence that followed was suffocating. I watched the color drain from his face, watched his hands ball into fists at his sides. "What are you talking about?" "Brodifacoum. Rat poison. You've been feeding it to me for weeks. Did you think I wouldn't notice? Did you think I would just lie down and die like a good little wife?" He stood up slowly. His whole demeanor changed. The pretense was gone now. The mask had fallen away completely. "You don't know what you're talking about. I know about the insurance policy. I know about Keisha. I know about the forged will in your briefcase." His eyes widened. Fear. Real fear. The predator had become the prey. "You went through my things?" "I went through everything, and I documented it all. Every pill, every cup of tea, every lie. It's all on video. It's all with my lawyer, and it's all been sent to the police." He lunged at me. I was ready. The gun was in my hand before he could take 2 steps. My grandmother's pistol. The one she'd taught me to shoot when I was 16 years old. "Sit down." He froze. "You wouldn't. After what you've done? Try me." He sat. "The police are on their way. I called them this morning. They've been monitoring this conversation through a wire I'm wearing. Everything you just did. Everything you just admitted to. It's all on record." As if on cue, I heard sirens in the distance. Getting closer. My husband's face crumpled. "Imani, please. We can work this out. I love you." "You don't know what love is." The police arrived 3 minutes later. They handcuffed him in our living room in front of the fireplace where we'd spent so many evenings together, where he'd held my hand and told me he'd love me forever. As they let him out, he turned back to look at me. There were tears in his eyes. Whether they were real or fake, I couldn't tell anymore. I couldn't tell anything with him anymore. "I never meant to hurt you," he said. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. The trial lasted 4 months. The evidence was overwhelming. The vitamins, the tea, the forged documents, the hidden camera footage. His girlfriend testified against him in exchange for a reduced sentence. He was convicted on 2 counts of attempted murder, forgery, insurance fraud, and conspiracy. The judge sentenced him to 25 years to life. I sat in that courtroom and watched them take him away, watched the doors close behind him, watched the life we'd built together crumble into dust. I felt nothing, not satisfaction, not closure, just empty. It took me a long time to recover, not just physically, though the effects of the poison took months to fully leave my system, but emotionally, mentally, learning to trust again, Learning to believe that not everyone who says they love you is lying. Some nights I still wake up in a cold sweat, reaching for a gun that isn't there, listening for footsteps that never come. That's the thing about surviving something like this. You never really stop surviving. It becomes part of who you are. But I am alive. I am free. And I am no longer afraid. My grandmother used to tell me, the devil doesn't always come dressed in red. Sometimes he comes as everything you ever wanted. I didn't understand what she meant until I lived it. Now I know. Now I see. Sometimes your enemy is sitting across from you at breakfast. Sometimes they're lying next to you in bed. Sometimes they're handing you vitamins and tea and telling you it's because they love you. Sometimes the person you trust the most is the one who wants you dead. I share my story now because I know there are other women out there, living my nightmare. Women who feel something is wrong but can't put their finger on it. Women whose intuition is screaming at them to run, but they stay because they want to believe in love. Trust yourself. Trust your gut. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Get evidence. Get help. Get out. And never, ever drink the tea.